I didn't really realize I would have to have money to buy into a franchise. You get that of like, I didn't really think it was going to take $50,000 in liquid cash and to be able to get a loan. I just have good credit, but I don't have a dollar. At least
when the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind at speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.
Hey, welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drewbie Wilson. With more than 2 decades in sales, I've seen it, been through it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing those stories to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community. Because let's be honest, this is the greatest job on earth. It doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what personality type. You can make an amazing life in sales. And today's guest is no stranger to the journey. I'd like to welcome Mr. James Hilovsky. How are you? No, Hilovsky.
Hey, appreciate it. Good. Hilovsky. Yeah, perfect.
We'll get there. I butchered that one, but we'll make sure it's right in the title, sir. Hey, welcome to the show.
All good. All good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. I want to jump right in. I want to hear your crazy sales story.
Yeah. Well, the crazy sales story is in the franchise lead, you get so many different aspects of, are they buyers? Are they not buyers? But just an incredible amount of tire kickers. You're talking, you got to weed through so many leads to really get that right one. So really a crazy sales story is, you get a hold of the person, they talk, and then the next thing you know, you're being ghosted. And that's every salesperson's, nightmare. It's just the ghost. I think in the franchise world, ghosting is just, I think it's an all-time high. It is really frustrating. It's just like, just say no, man. Just say no. It's all good, you have the times of, you'll get them on the phone and they say, hey, I'll call you back in 10 minutes. They're not calling you back in 10 minutes. Or, I'm at the doctor's appointment. Let's schedule for Thursday. And they're like, okay, well, all right, yeah, what time works? And they give you a time, and then there's a no-show. So it is just the constant, weeding through that is just unbelievable. But it's why we do it. It's you got to do it, and it is just something you just you could get down really easily. It's just you just got to keep at it and go. And I think the thing you really have to do is just don't take anything personally.
Yes, I love that. And there's a couple of things I want to peel out of that introductory story, because I think it really relates heavily to the sales aspect that so many people go through. Number one, a lead is a lead is a lead. Qualification of that lead, the intention of that lead, how excited they are about your product or service, TBD. But you have to have the conversation to find that out. And where I could imagine it would be difficult for you, James, and I would love, for you to give me some insight in this, is in the franchise world, essentially, if I understand correctly, people are buying into the franchise or the idea of a business in a box, essentially, right? They get all the structure and the framework, and as long as they put the people and the capital into it, it should produce revenue and cash flow. We know that's not always the case, but that's the ideal, right? That's the dream.
Yep.
And so I would imagine it's probably difficult for these people who have maybe submitted their information and said, yes, I am interested in a franchise, to have the willingness to say, no, I'm no longer interested, because it would mean that they're not actually interested in chasing their dream. They'd have to admit that to themselves. So I would imagine that's something you probably run into. Is that pretty fair to say?
100%. And really, there'll be times when I am talking with candidates, and it'll be like, well, I didn't really realize I would have to have money to buy into a franchise. That, you get that of like, I didn't really think it was going to take, at least, $50,000 in liquid cash and to be able to get a loan. I just have good credit, but I don't have a dollar. You mean I can't just get the whole thing funded? Well, no, not really. No. So yeah, so it kills the dream. And one thing I want to hit back with you too about leads. When you talk about leads and you go, a lead's a lead, and the funny thing is, when you work with, because I work with lead portal companies where, you know,
Sure.
you advertise for brands on portals, and, you know, they'll always say, well, your cost per lead is, you know, $17. And it's like, well, you know, my average cost of lead might be that, but they're not really leads. It's just people that are tire kickers. So, you know, to quantify a really good lead, that's the hardest part. It's funny when we call a lead, and you either get no contact from them or anything. So for me, that is really the most frustrating thing. The portal that well, this is what we're giving you, all these leads. I'm like, oh, they're not really leads. They're not responding.
Well,
and you know,
and it's interesting to me because this is really where you could get into the nerdier side of sales and metrics and KPIs, and this is a lot of where sales professionals start learning the marketing aspect of, okay, well, let's talk about a cost per lead is $17. Fantastic. What do you consider a lead? The company might say it's a name, a phone, an email, and some 3 or 4 lines of information, right? It depends. But the important thing is, okay, well, now what's the lead to conversation rate? How many of those leads do I have to call? And how many times do I have to call before I actually talk to them where I get to qualify whether or not they're a tire kicker? Because then it's like, okay, well, of those leads, how many do actually turn into a qualified sales conversation? And of those qualified sales conversations, how many turn into actual deals that put revenue on the table? Like, you can layer in so deep, and that's what's fun to me about sales. And what I would love to know, you know, from you, from your perspective, like getting into the franchise world, it's an interesting route to take. How did you even end up down that path?
well, so I was a restaurant guy, and worked many years in corporate America in the restaurant business. And then I left a restaurant company to another one where they said, hey, run our franchise side, support our franchisees, be our liaison. So I did that, and I loved it. And then the largest franchisee of the company said, hey, come partner with us. So partnered with them. They were 2 NFL football players, and they were brothers. And so we had our franchise. Then we did another ice cream franchise. We did our own coffee shop, our own cookie dough. Then one of the brothers retired from the NFL. The other one got injured, couldn't fulfill the rest of his contract. So they decided, hey, we want to sell off, and said, yeah, let's do it right before COVID. So great timing. So great timing. So that was just a blessing in itself. Yeah. So then they were going, hey, we're going into the tequila business. What we're going to do. And their grandfather had a tequila farm. And it's like, you know, that really isn't, I have nothing against it. I just don't have it just doesn't excite me. And I was trying to decide, do I want to go back into the restaurant? It's like, no, you know what? I really enjoyed my time working with franchisees. And I saw all the people that were in the restaurant business and had no business being there. None. So, you know, wasted millions of dollars and just like didn't realize they were getting into a ball and chain and, you know, 80 hours a week in a grind. And then I saw the brothers, everyone came to them with, hey, you know, do this investment, and just because they were athletes. And it's just like, wow. So I decided at that point, like, okay, I'm going to transition. I'm going to be a franchise broker because I want to help people from the mistakes I've seen and just find the right fit and match. So what I do. So I really typically, the most frustrating part about for me in sales is I don't really sell anything. I match make. So I show them, I'm calling the leads, I'm getting there, I'm showing them all their options, and then I'm turning it over to the franchisor and they're doing the sales process. And I'm in the background just kind of help them to make a great decision. So my sales part really is getting them on and showing them their options, and then, you know, telling them, you know, why they should do it and what, you know, help them with their dream and find the right path. And
what an interesting, you know, and this is why having worked with some franchises over the last couple of years from a consulting standpoint. It's so interesting, the dynamics of it when you get inside, because a lot of these folks are coming in and buying a franchise because they were in a corporate career and they're like, you know what, I don't want to stay stuck dealing with these jerk bosses, or I've, you know, got a little money set aside and I want to go and do my own thing. And so they They go to the franchise because it comes with the marketing and the branding and the awareness, and that's really, really helpful for a new business owner. Anyone who started something as an entrepreneur knows, like, getting your brand and getting awareness for yourself is not an easy feat. So shortcuts, right? You're buying the shortcut to getting into some of these opportunities, but they're still missing the fact that you have to do the work. It doesn't matter what the franchise is, whether you're making cookies or you're slinging pizzas. There's work that has to be done. Just like in a sales position, you have to call the damn leads. You have to reach out to these people, and you have to do the discovery. You have to have those conversations. And what I'd be curious for our audience to learn from your realm is, like, what are some of the things that you're asking these leads that you talk to qualify them on, like, if they would be a good fit to own a franchise? Like, how does someone even know that makes sense for them?
Yeah, well, the intent's there because they've reached out to me, so they kind of know, okay, I want to do something. I want to, transition, or I'm retired now. I need something to do. So then it's better of just talking with them and going, okay, well, the form says you have 100K of liquid cash. Sometimes you go, oh, they don't have zero. They have no liquid cash. They just didn't put the right thing in. So you talk about the investment level they're comfortable with, what industries they're comfortable with. And I really try to push anybody away from restaurants, because I know that's a grind. Unless they have an amazing team or experience, don't even think about it, because the investment's going to be the highest that's out there, and the biggest risk. So,
probably the most labor intensive, I'd have to imagine, too.
Yes, there's a lot. Yeah, for really low margins. People don't realize they see a big line of cars. I get this all the time. I see a Starbucks or a Dutch Brothers. They have a line out the door. I want to own one of those. You have no idea what your margins are in that. How about let's look at dog grooming, which is like a quarter of what you would spend on doing that, and you're going to have reoccurring revenue because it's subscription based, and you're going to be able to probably make your money back well within the first year. Those are the kind of franchises I like to show people, and just things they might not have ever thought of. So it really is matching their goals, their investment level, what industries they like. We talk about different industries that are out there, show them different concepts, and then they might take one or two and say, hey, I'm super interested in. I send them to the franchisor, and they take a deeper dive, and then I help them talk through that with them. And the thing is, it's like, hey, when you're talking with someone, you got a good rapport, and then you're the next call, you're going to show them maybe 15 concepts, and then they'll go, hey, I like this one or that one. So you talk with them, you spend that time, you put a nice presentation together. Time to meet comes up, and it's crickets. Because
what?
Because they probably realize they don't have the money to do it, or fear takes over a lot of people, just going, yeah, this is risky, or to your point, maybe they go, well, yeah, James told me I'm going to have to do work. I thought I just hang up the name, and the franchisor does all the work. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that's like the biggest fear would be the investment aspect of it. And I think that's a lot of times in everything, right? Scarcity mindset, the inability to understand what a return on investment actually is and the timeline that it requires. You had said something, in the right scenario, you may get that return on investment year one from the right business run the right way. The issue is most people say, hey, well, I just want to throw my $50,000 into the slot machine, and I want it to print $250,000 a year for the rest of my life, and I don't ever want to have to think about it again. And unfortunately, that's the unicorn theory. I don't think that ever really actually happens except in the movies, And so for you, you work with so many of these franchise brands. What are you seeing right now? I mean, we're recording this. It's getting close to the end of 2025. This episode will come out in 2026. What do you think is going to be the trend going into the new year as far as hot franchises or business models you see really starting to kind of make a come up right now?
Yeah, really in the franchise world, the boring franchises will always be the boring franchises, but they are, I don't want to say safe, but the home service network, really the investment levels lower, garage doors, HVAC, electricity, plumbers. I mean, those are really good, solid franchises. Going to be a lot of competition, so you got to get the right franchisor that you really believe is going to give you the great support. I
Mm.
really see a nice shift of trying to do things with less employees. There's a new health and wellness concept that's come out that they are, typically for what they offer float therapy, red light therapy, chirotherapy. They have a lot of different offerings that a franchise out there is going for $1 million to do the build out. They've buttoned it down to about 300K, buttoned it down to where you only need 1 or 2 staff members. So I think, and it's a reoccurring membership model. So I think that's really going to be good. This last year, what I did the most was indoor golf simulators business. And
I've seen those. That's
that
interesting.
has been the most one. And I think that's going to continue to be strong because there's more franchises of those coming out. So, hey, I don't have any more territory in this one, but this other one does. So that's going to be that's really hot right now.
I could see that. That's really cool. It's funny to me because I was just talking to somebody the other day about Top Golf and how it was so hot for such a long time, but now you're seeing they're kind of starting to struggle, and I mean those things are definitely not cheap to build. But as you said, when you start thinking smarter, an indoor simulator, you need a big tarp, some rubber, and just a projector screen and a couple of cameras. Like at this point, technology has come so far so fast that I'm just making that up, by the way. I don't know exactly what requires to be in a golf simulator machine, but I would just imagine it's not a huge investment.
It's about 300K, but I mean, because you got the machines. But the beautiful part of it is it's 24/7 automation. You can go in 2 in the morning and play. And the best part is maybe one employee, and it could be employee free, to be honest with you. So that is the beautiful thing, because your overhead is really your electricity and your rent and a small amount of labor. So it is a really good model. It is truly, when you talk about semi-passive in the franchise world, it is a model that could be ran with 5 to 10 hours a week of a very passive model of effort that's put into it. Most franchises, when you say passive, it's going to require a lot still.
Well, all right, let's go down this path, because there's a lot of people I know in sales that are making good money, and like the athletes, right? Because in sales, you become kind of your own like rock star, athlete, entertainer. Yeah. Salespeople have their own swag about them. At least I believe so. And that's the brand. That's why people like to work with you, because you have that energy. And so for those of us that are, making a little bit of money, we're getting hit up all the time. Like, hey, invest in this, invest in that. I wanted to know, is there anything that's truly passive in your opinion when it comes to buying into a business or a franchise model?
Yeah, that really is tough. So I look at passive like the golf thing totally is, but it really, to do passive, you really have got to use your skills of your sales skills, and then your management skills. It could be really semi-passive if you have a manager, hire the right manager, and they're running the day-to-day and you're back behind the scenes. Then you truly are really looking at 15 hours to 20 hours a week. But you got to really be managing that manager, and you really got to have the skills to hone in on making sure they're doing the right thing. It's going to take the investment level up, but it can be done keeping your job, or hey, doing sales and having that. Absolutely. I there's some clients that have 3-4 different franchises that they run.
Interesting. And that's what I love about sales, right? It gives you the opportunity to create whatever lifestyle, whatever version of freedom or success is your version. And that's the coolest thing. And so, James, as you start working with these people and you look at your own life, would you say sales has given you that freedom?
Oh, 100%. And freedom with different people that do what I do. that I know. Some of them are, I only want to do 1-2 deals a year. And that's because I'm semi-retired, but that helps pay for my vacation. So yeah, sales that definitely fits them. There's people like me that go, no, I want to hustle and I want to do this. And, I want to be closing, 1 to 2 deals a month, if not more. And, that's just I want to pound it. So of course but the freedom of sales is, hey, you know what? I can go out and play around the golf and then hit all my calls up, a little bit later afterwards. So I have an incredible amount of freedom by doing sales, and it's really been a really great lifestyle.
Well, James, I know you and I could probably sit here and nerd out on this for several hours because I love the concept of helping people develop the systems, the processes, the routines that make them successful. And I know that franchises are a big proponent of providing a lot of those things for you when you step in. So how do we come find you, follow you, check out more of your content around this model and how it works so that if we, decide to go that path, we can learn more about it?
Yeah, my website's thefrandream.com. The Frandream, FRANDREAM, on there. And on there actually is like a little business assessment people could take and kind of get kind of what their skill set is. So check that out. Or, email me, James at thefrandream.com. I'd love to have a conversation with anybody about anything.
That's awesome. And we appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day to be here and share some wisdom with us. And certainly looking forward to seeing some of the cool concepts that you talked about coming to light in our town, because I'm always watching to see what's new and exciting. And listen, if you guys enjoyed the show, if you got some value out of today's episode, go share it on social media. Go follow James. Check out their website. If you've been thinking about where you want to park some money so that you can really start taking that next step in your journey, franchising is a great option when done correctly. This is the whole point, is it's not going to just be money in, bankrolls out. You're going to have to do the work. So if you know someone who could use a little bit of help in this journey, send them this episode. Tell them you were thinking about them. You don't have to tell them they're a terrible investor and they keep trying to do awful things with their money. You don't have to say that. But just be like, hey, here's something to think about. Here's some thoughts, some ideas. And then go and leave us a review, subscribe, check out all the other episodes. You guys know what to do from here. Pick up the phone, call the damn leads. We'll see you next time.
When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind that speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.